Hello, my name's James Pikeway, and welcome to tip number 3 on how to be a better video conference participant, and literally how to be awesome at it. So, what have we talked about already? Let's get a little recap. We've talked about backgrounds and we've talked about lighting. Both matter. And a little bit of a tip on those backgrounds again. Don't go with the backgrounds that you can load up from your video conference provider. 50% of the time you start looking like a Max Headroom. Google Max Headroom, you'll see what I mean. Just work on your background, whether it be putting up a closed tree with things hanging on it, whether it be stringing a little line so that you have something hanging there, finding a wall, finding a shelf, whatever. Just make it work and think about what's behind you. So what's tip number 3? Oh, tip number 2, remember that was lighting. Make sure that you're lit up so that people can see you. Tip number 3 is simply make sure that you're taking up the screen of your video conference service. Make sure that you're centered. Make sure that the camera has you in that screen, which means if you've got a situation like this going down, work on it. You want to work on it to make sure that you adjust the hinge of your computer so that you take up the screen, so that you're front and center, so that you're being featured. You don't want to have this happening either where you get people talking and you see their noses, or you don't want to have this happening where someone's talking and you see the underside of their face. That is not good either. Use the preview feature. Make sure that your face, because that's what we're looking at, is front and center in this video exercise. You're the star. You want to be the person people are looking at. So make sure that you are front and center in the screen. Do this in the preview before you start. Take a look. Is the lighting right? Is the background right? Am I front and center? Am I the star of this video conference show? Now there's one other little piece I want to add into that. It's kind of like 3.5 tips today. The half tip is make sure you look at the camera. Okay, you might have to look down at your notes, you might have to read something, but the rest of the time, be looking at the camera. Make eye contact, even if it's virtual, with your video conference participants. You want them to feel like you're talking and engaging with them. Not only are you going to be lined up in the center of that screen and maybe use the Richard K. Wood at Second Light Photography portrait technique where you kind of cut the head a little bit. I kind of like that, where I'm right in. It works with my headshots from Richard, and I find it works really well with my video conferences as well. So I kind of like to have this kind of a setup, but also make sure you're looking at that green light. Make sure you're looking at your screen so that you're making virtual eye contact with your participants. It makes them feel like you're talking to them, and it gives you the opportunity, because you end up looking at yourself, it gives you the opportunity to make sure that you look great. Because with video conference, it's not just what you're saying, it's how you look. So, tip number 3, really simple, quick recap, make sure you're centered and make sure you're looking at the camera. If you do that, you are going to be awesome with your video conference. That's tip number 3 from me, James. Tip number 4, coming up soon.